What? So it's day 4 already. Day 4 in my 30-day journey. So for day 4, I want to touch on starting up a business. So I know for a lot of people it seems unrealistic. It is a lot of planning, but for me it is completely worth it. So we're going to tap in today on, hey, you want to start a business up? Let's go. So welcome in. Thanks for joining me for day 4. This is getting exciting as the days come. So you want to start a business. All right, so for me, of course, I have my esthetician business. This marks year 1. Well, January marked year 1 of me for my business. And it also marked year 1 in my first suite. I have upgraded, and this year I started new. I upgraded to a new suite, so here we are. This is my beautiful beginning for the new year. I love it here. I love growth. Leaving my first suite, it was bittersweet because that's where you started, but I just felt like in order for me to grow, I had to keep expanding and changing up. So change can be uncomfortable. However, I was like, I gotta go for it in order for me to grow. So here I am. All right, so basically, if you want to start a business up, the first step is going to be to identify a business idea that aligns with your skills, your interests, and then you want to look at the market needs in the area. For me, being an esthetician, just being in the cosmetology field in general, it's like the beauty business is always booming. So with that, it was a little easier for me because the beauty world, it makes like multi-billion dollars. So it's like, all right, that's what worked for me. I've always had an interest in it since I was younger. It just took me a little longer to get onto the path of that. So there you go. First thing, of course, is get something that aligns with your skill. So what have you always dreamed of doing? What are you interested in? That, of course, would be up to you. I can't tell you what skill or what interests you as much, but for me, it was within the cosmetology field, and here I am with my esthetician business. Um, so once you figure out what sparks your interest and what you want to put out there to the world, your next step really would be to conduct like a thorough search within the market. For me, it wasn't too hard. Within the beauty industry, there's lots of money to be made. Even though I live in a smaller town, there are there's a lot of competition, but the industry is just so big that there's enough out here for all of us to eat and get that bag. So with that being said, you want to look into that market search. The next thing is going to be, which is very critical, you want to create a business plan. So setting a business plan is important because it does help define your business idea. It does set goals, and then it's going to help you understand your market and your competition. Um, with that, I I didn't have the best business plan, I guess. Jumping into it, I kind of winged a lot. I feel like that's the story of my life. I wing a lot of stuff. I do not suggest winging stuff. For me, it's kind of a thrill because it shows me like, okay, you can either fail at something or you can really overcome and win something. So, hey, don't follow what I do. This is just for me, it's a weird thrill. The accomplishment of doing something, especially just doing it like that out of nowhere. So I honestly started to develop my business plan and idea a little bit after. It was kind of all over the place. But the more and more I got into the industry, it was like, okay, I do need to secure some goals, write some notes down. What is my plan with this business? Without a business plan, it can fail. It can. So you just don't always want to like take a leap of faith. I'm telling you, I'm really bad with spur of the moment stuff. For me, luckily, it did work. And now I see with my growth how important a business plan is. So, yes, I need you to make sure that you have a business plan because it's going to minimize the risk and it's going to guide you towards huge growth and success within your business. So, business plan, business plan. It's basically like the roadmap to your dreams. So, you want to have that roadmap and that planned out correctly so that you can have that really good future ahead of you and that there can be some really good growth. So business plan, business plan, business plan. So next thing you want to worry about or look into is securing the funding. Obviously, it does cost money to start up a business. Again, for me, I was working a typical, I don't want to really say typical, I was working a 9 to 5. I worked that 9 to 5 as I got through esthetician school. I worked for a tow company. We're not going to touch on that too heavy. That was probably the most chaotic times in my life. But I worked at the tow company as I was getting myself through school. I planned on staying at the tow company as I was building my business. Obviously, there were other plans for me aligned, so it didn't work out how it was supposed to. The moment I graduated school, I became licensed, and then I found my first suite, got my keys to the suite. As quick as I got my keys to my suite is as quick as I got the boot from the tow company I was working for. I just felt like it was probably a lot of jealousy because I was going to balance both of them out. This is what I do. Like, I know what I'm capable of. That was my plan. Just as I built my clientele, continue to work my 9 to 5, have that money, push it to the side, save it so I can push it into my business. Since things did not work out that way, I literally used my last paycheck to get my business started. We're not going to discuss how, small that last paycheck was, but I basically started with nothing for my business. I just went out on a limb with a dream and I spoke it into existence. Like, I'm going to make it. I don't have an option. There's no time for failure right now. There is options for people, if you want to get a loan, if you want to get a credit card for your business. I'm not a fan of that only because I messed my credit up at such a young age and I worked so hard to get it back at top tier that I was just like, I'm not going that route. Like, whatever money I have, this is what I'm going to use to build myself, and that's just what it was for me. So, hey, there are options as far as funding goes. If you have, good credit, you can get out there. Like I said, you can get a credit card. You can get a loan to help you out. For me, I just had to use the resources that were available to me at the time until I built my clientele up and I built my money. Basically, every week that I made money within my business, I would put some aside or I would put that into a purchase. So I try to purchase something small every week until finally I had everything I needed for my business, at least as the startup. And here I am. So yeah, I did mess my credit up as a young single mom at the age of 17, 18, and I worked extremely hard to get my credit back in order. So there was no way I was going to go take out a loan or apply for a credit card when I felt like I can just build and figure out another way to make this money. Luckily for me, I had a super supportive family at the time. The partner I had, since he knew my dreams and my goals, he took on a load of the house and the bills and all of that. So I am grateful for that. I was able to just focus on my business and how to grow as far as that goes. So the next thing you want to think about is going to be the legal structure of your business. Me personally, I have an LLC, which is a limited liability company. Some of the other structures, there's the sole proprietorship, partnership. I did think about going into partnership when I was planning on opening my own school. Luckily, signs came from everywhere, and that situation just happened to not work out with the specific person I was supposed to open a school with. So I have seen a lot of partnerships fail. Just make sure that you have things in line legally in the case that you and your partner fall out when it comes to having a partnership owning a business. I've seen it too many times. I've seen like places where I've worked and they had a partnership structure and the owners, they fell out from each other. So it was just a big old just crazy hot mess of things going on because they had nothing written down. They weren't thinking, oh, what if we fall out or something happens? They didn't have a plan for that. So, just be careful when it comes to choosing a partnership. Just make sure, that's someone that you you really can't plan for things to happen. Sometimes you don't think about negative things like that, but this is the point of making, some sort of contract in case things do go south of what will happen if you guys' business together does not work. So that is something to look into. As for me, like I said, I had an LLC. So LLC, that would be the limited liability, pretty much. So that business structure, it protects the owners from personal liability for the company debt. So let's say if someone tried to come for my business, um, they couldn't come for my personal stuff. It would just specifically be like things in this room. They couldn't come for like my vehicle at home. That's just an example. Just make sure you look into it as far as the different rules for each state. Also within LLC, when it comes to taxes, it's basically claimed on my taxes. Um, on my personal side. So yeah, basically make sure you look into the different structures and the rules for opening up businesses within the state you're in. I'm in Texas, so I can't say that the rules are the same for everywhere else, but just make sure that's the biggest thing you look into when you are tapping into opening your own business. You're also going to want to make sure that you do register your business name. The first step, the very, very first step, before we even, get that far, you need to make sure that you have the proper schooling. So you have to complete, for me, it was completing the esthetician course, and that was 750 hours here in the state of Texas. It does differ in different states, but for me here, it was the 750. So I first had to complete at the school those hours. After I did that, I was required to go through TDLR. um, with TDLR, I had to do a written exam. After I passed my written exam, I then do a practical in-person exam to make sure, I'm able to do these services and I can do them safely. I've been taught well. So after you go to school, get your certification through the school, then you go through TDLR here in Texas. So check whatever state you live in to see the requirements of your licensing. I received my esthetician license with 750 hours in the state of Texas. So I am licensed to perform facials, full body waxes, I do eyebrows, and then lashes as well fall into play for estheticians here. There is the option of SD Mani. So with SD Mani, you would be able to do everything that falls under the esthetician scope, as well as a manicurist, anything within the nail tech field. So we do have that option, the SD Mani license here in Texas. Originally, in my first school, because I went to more than one school, I did start the SD Mani program. I had a bad experience at that school. When I left, they wouldn't give me any of my hours, so I went to my next school and I did have to start over. So when I started over, I started with SD first. I just now completed the nail tech program. So now what I'll do is combine both of my licenses, the esthetician and the mani, to turn it into an esthetician manicurist here in the state of Texas. So check out those rules, of course. You want to make sure that you have a logo and you create your website. Thankfully, with the school I went to, they helped you with all of that, like coming up with your business name and doing all that. So before I was thrown into the real world, I already had certain things in play, like my logo and my business name. Business name, Melanin Glow by Janae. Kept it easy. I know they'll say don't use your name in there, but my name is what defines me. My name is pretty unique. Melanated skin, So I wanted to. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for day 4 of the 30-day journey of following me and my growth. Basically, there's so much more I could go on about. However, just start by searching what's required within your state. That's the best place to start. So once again, thank you all for joining me. Thanks for subscribing. Make sure you hop in the comment section of this and you share, like, all that good stuff. Takes like 0 seconds. It takes 0 effort to get in there and just share and like something. So yeah, hop in the comments if there's anything you want to know, any questions, anything you want to comment, anything you want to add on, go ahead and hop in those comments. Thanks again. See you guys later.